I want to say a PSA here for Steve Cohen and for anyone else who listens to the show that might ever buy a sports team. Do not give a time frame for winning a championship in your introductory press conference.
Dude, we've been this a million times.
Goes well.
Coming in 3, 2, 1. Hello, I'm Scott Soshnick.
And I'm Eben Novi-Williams, and this is the Meet the Mess Sports Business Podcast, the Sporticast.
I like it. Now, is it a mess,
Step right
though?
up and greet the mess.
Yeah, well, before I get to that, where do I stand? You know, because I steal your gum all the time. 5 minutes before we just started taping, I put a fresh 2 pieces in because I wasn't feeling fresh from something I'd eaten. And I don't like to take it out. Can I do the podcast with the gum in my mouth? Can you tell I have it in my mouth? I can't
tell right now.
I have it shoved.
Justin is probably like, I can tell immediately.
You think so?
Maybe.
I have it. I flattened it out and I have it up here, like a little pinch between my cheek and gum, as the marketing for the tobacco people used to say. But I don't think I might have to do a little. Like there could be one of those that you might hear. Like that was on purpose. But right now, I'm saying I don't think it's detectable.
This is a man of many talents, folks.
Well, I'm just wondering, do I need to take it out?
Chew gum at the same time.
Do I and walk? Should I walk around? Do I need to remove it?
Clockwise.
Meet the mess. Go ahead. Tell me. What do you want to talk about? The mess? I was amazed because my son, focus group of 1, as you know, he was loving like the Red Zone channel for MLB, whatever it's called. There are lots of innings extra in it. Do you know the name of the show? But it's the same thing. It shows like 4 games at once, and you get the audio from one of them, and it's just a whip around. So you're seeing everything that's happening. And it was perfect for the past couple of days because every game meant something in the playoff picture. But I'm like, wow, the Reds are losing. The Mets are losing 4-0. I'm like, boy, if they lose to the Marlins oh my God. Yeah, so Steve Cohen is out. He's got his statement out there. But boy, if you're a Mets fan, first 2 months of the season, you were like the best team ever created. And then all of a sudden it was just a precipitous drop off the cliff. Terrible.
You are one of the most expensive teams ever created.
Yeah,
that one, they can't lose by losing $342 million payroll, Scott. One of the most expensive baseball teams ever created ever.
Yeah.
Second this year in payroll behind the Dodgers, coming off of a year when they made that run, a very exciting run to the NLCS. They re-signed they signed Juan Soto to that huge deal in the offseason. Seemed like Pete Alonso was sticking around, and we can get to Pete in a second because it looks a little bit different.
Polar bear hibernated a little bit.
Polar bear hibernating. Yeah, I mean, this is a disaster. I think if you're a longtime Mets fan, and I was one at one point, I would say less so now. I think this feels very similar. This is a team that has.
When were you give at your height of Mets fandom? Who were the 2 or 3 faces of the team, the principal players on those Mets?
It was the John Olerud, Benny Agbayani,
and John Olerud, Edgardo Alfaro.
Yeah, I could name probably the entire 2005 Mets team. I
like the Timo bobblehead where he went up and caught the ball over the wall.
That's Andy Chavez. That's not Timo.
Oh, Andy. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
I have that bobblehead.
Who was it that didn't run? There was a ball hit off the wall in the World Series. Was that Timo Perez or was that Andy Chavez?
In the World Series.
Yeah, I think when they put the Yankees in the World Series, there was a ball that was hit to the wall, and the runner should have scored but didn't.
Darryl Hamilton, maybe?
I think it was either Andy or Timo. But again, my Mets history is.
I don't think Andy was on that team.
I don't know. I can't remember. Okay.
Either
way,
yes,
interesting naming.
I was a longtime Mets fan. They have collapsed in the playoffs before. I want to say a PSA here for Steve Cohen and for anyone else who listens to the show that might ever buy a sports team. Do not give a time frame for winning a championship in your introductory press conference.
Dude, we've been this a million times.
Goes well. It never goes well. Mikhail Prokhorov tried it in the Nets, never won a championship.
Yeah, but he didn't really care.
Steve Cohen, when he bought the Mets, said he wanted a title within the first 5 years. If he didn't, it would be a disappointment. Well, here we are 5 years in, no World Series title. I think people should just stay away from doing that. Even
if
idiotic.
You win it,
it's not like, he called his shot.
What if we said,
bad no matter what? Yeah.
What if we said, there's so many things out of your control. That's what makes winning so special. If you can actually do it and put it all together, what would happen if a family member of the star player got sick and he's like, I got to be with them. My wife is having a baby, or I sprained my ankle, or I fell down. I got stung, a bee stung me on the eyelid. I can't see. There's so many things. Or just the plain old my superstar says, I don't want to be here anymore. Like that happens. It goes back to the Dan Gilbert, LeBron doesn't have a boss. This is not like sitting at SAC or Point 72 where you're analyzing and you're saying, I see something that nobody else sees. I'm crunching numbers. It's not the same. Like
Yep.
you can do all the right things and still not win in sports. What have we said? I'm going to do everything I can to put a team that can compete for a championship. Steve Cohen, check and check. Nobody will argue that Steve Cohen did not commit the resources, the ownership resources, also known as money, to field a championship caliber team. Great. Okay. I'm going to give you a game day experience in Citi Field unlike any other, where even if we lose, we don't want to, but we can't win them all. Even if we lose, you're going to have a hell of a good time. You're really going to enjoy yourself, and you're going to want to come back because it's a compelling product. Those are the two things you should promise as an owner. Championships and the like, stop it. You are 100% right. Just don't do it. It makes no sense.
Agreed. And if you zoom out in baseball for a second and look, there is obviously a correlation typically between the highest spenders and the teams that do the best. And the Mets are the only team in the top 6 in payroll across baseball that did not make the playoffs. The others being the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Phillies, the Astros, and the Blue Jays. You occasionally get teams that buck the trend. Cleveland this year and Milwaukee was, I think, the best team in baseball, certainly the best team in the NL, and they do not have a high payroll. But
Mark Adodacio, if you're listening, come to Invest in Sports. Yes, okay.
There you go. If you are spending more than $200 million, and again, the Mets were spending almost 350, but if you're spending more than $200 million, you should be making the playoffs. So yeah, I don't think there's any way, and this is Steve's words, any way other than to say this is a massive disappointment, not just in the end result, but also the way that it happened. And then on the other side in New York, Scott, because we're both here, the Yankees had a lull period there for a bit, but did seem to gain some strength heading into the playoffs, and we'll see where they net out. I think they're the favorite right now in the AL.
You think the Yankees are the favorite?
Who's the favorite in the AL?
Man, I mean, I just look at teams that I don't think they match up well against. I mean, maybe they are on your betting sites. I get it.
That's what I'm talking
about.
But yeah.
I just see a team with the Yankees take the field in a 4 out of 7 against the Blue Jays. They ain't winning.
The Mariners, and then the Yankees and Blue Jays are tied.
Okay, I'm not even sure about Mariners. I think the Yankees had a better shot against the Mariners than the Blue Jays. I think they're going to have a very, very difficult time against the Red Sox, frankly. Just watching that team and just the way they force things, the way they run, the way they take, I think it's going to be very difficult for the Yankees to beat the Red Sox.
Dream matchup for baseball fans, obviously. Anytime you get the Yankees and Red Sox
in the World Series, you don't want one eliminated right now. You want that promising matchup as long as you keep the Dodgers on one end. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. But I mean, Yanks, Sox, Cleveland, Detroit, Dodgers, Reds, Cubs, Padres, all good matchups. I always find it interesting who gets the day game, who gets the lesser network, who gets the prime time slot. But what do you think about this?
Detroit, Cleveland gets the day game.
Yeah, well, yeah, there you go.
Right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, Dodgers. I mean, I don't think the Reds are kind of compelling on a national level. But if I go for my focus group of 1, Ellie De La Cruz against the Dodgers, huge. That's the matchup he would want to see. Give me all of it, even Yanks Sox, as you well know. I've told the story. You look at those 4 matchups right now, and I'm telling you, he wants to see Dodgers and Reds. If they were all playing at the same time, the 16 and under set is tuning into Dodgers and Reds. How's that?
And I love that he's watching these whip around shows in the high leverage moments in the baseball season.
Yep. I told you, him and his pals, they're into baseball. And it all goes back, and we're going to get to EA Sports in a minute, but it all goes back to the Xbox for him and the MLB The Show. And he loves the gear. He loves the flair. He loves the batting stances. He does all that stuff. He like everything we used to do except watching the games or going to the games back in the day.
Yeah, this is a tangent, but it's getting me thinking. We talked with DeMaurice Smith last week about how sometimes you're watching NFL Red Zone and things are coming together at the exact same time across like 4 games, and it is just riveting television. This baseball, yesterday on Sunday, the baseball playoffs unwinding, also really exciting for a lot of different games. College football Saturdays sometimes where you're on Saturday night, I was bouncing around between the Alabama Georgia game and the Oregon Penn State game, which went down to the final final plays essentially at the same time. The ability in this modern sports media world to be watching these games simultaneously is pretty amazing, and it does make the viewing experience for these really high leverage moments in any sport, really, when they're happening simultaneously, it is so compelling, and it's really great to be watching at a time when you can do that easily.
Well, we're talking about sort of, again, the screen of the future, because we keep asking ourselves, what is sports like in 2050, right? Give me that screen, upper left box, you've got the live game. To the right, you've got your social media. Below left, you've got your sports betting, and then your lower right quadrant, you've got your e-com, right? All that's going on. But my kid, again, he doesn't want to sit and watch one game. He's probably playing MLB The Show while something's on in the background. The minute he is alerted that there is something that requires his attention, Kyle Raleigh hit 60, look at this great catch, no hitter in the 7th inning, something like that, he will then divert from the game to the live while engaging in the social with his friends going, did you see? So that's the ecosystem he's living in. It's not like, you and I was like, oh, the Yankees are back in the day. It's like, oh, the Yankees are on what, WPIX? Like, if you remember that, like, you really go back in the day. You tuned into the Yankee game, and if you wanted to change the channel, you had to get up, walk to the TV, and go down to 9 to see the Mets on OR.
I'm not that old. I'm not getting.
I know you're not that old, but I was. I had to get up and change. By the way, for my father, just so you know, there was no remote control. I was the remote control. I used to stand by the television for 30 minutes at a time, going around the dial, click, 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 wait. If there was a commercial, I just had to wait and see what was coming. What movie of the weekend was coming on ABC. I was the remote control.
You were the original Scott Hansen. You're like, oh, yes, we're going to go over here. Yeah. We're going to Pittsburgh now for Steelers and Giants.
Yeah, change back to Channel 4. Right, yeah. It was the AFC was on NBC. The NFC was on CBS. That's right. And I got to, until Fox came in and changed the whole paradigm. But yeah, I was standing at the TV going back and forth. So, this whole new world of the future fan, of what do they want? How do they want to watch it? How does it get shot to them? And, Adam Silver caught some grief recently for saying, well, different people watch the NBA. It's a lot of highlight shows so they can catch the highlights. I get it. Like, maybe Adam didn't express it exactly but I mean, come on, guys, give him a break. You know what he was trying to say. It is not just about watching a full game anymore. You can monetize highlights. You can monetize clips. You can monetize the whip around. That's how I know my guy wants to watch it. And frankly, I enjoyed the heck out of watching those 4. I didn't have to look on my phone. It was all right there in front of me. Like, I wanted to know if one team was winning. Wait, all right, for the Mets, it was Cincinnati. How are they doing? How are the other out-of-town teams? I thought it was great. That's exactly what the fan would want. All the games at their fingertips in real time.
So you were talking about video games in there. Some big video game news this week. Electronic Arts, the maker of the Madden NFL franchise, the EA Sports, formerly FIFA
size
soccer
and scoping
franchise,
right there. That's like
football,
a Bloomberg
NHL,
story in verbal form.
F1, EA Sports going private, $55 billion buyout from a consortium of backers. The big names here to me, Scott: PIF, the Saudi Arabian Sovereign Wealth Fund; Silver Lake, the private equity frequent partner of Endeavor, WME, and IMG. Yep. Affinity Partners in there too, which is the investment firm founded by Jared Kushner. This is, I think, according to business sites, the largest leverage buyout in American history, American stock market history. And I want to just point out specifically about PIF and the Saudi involvement. A few years ago, Saudi Arabia announced it was going to spend $38 billion on gaming, esports, video games, publishers, investments, all of that. And they have bought into basically all of the major publishers in the world at this point: Nintendo, EA, Take-Two, I think, Activision Blizzard, now Electronic Arts as well. They stood up the Esports World Cup in Riyadh. It has been one of the industries that, as Saudi Arabia looks to diversify its economy, to be investing more into consumer and entertainment worlds, gaming is a big piece of that push. And this Electronic Arts buyout is a big piece of that push.
Now, if you're telling me LBOs, thank you for a little industry lingo there.
Okay.
Yeah, well, thank you. But again, I'm going to be erudite for a moment, if you don't mind. I do recall back in the day. I don't remember how old I was, but reading Barbarian to the Gate. If you have not read Barbarian to the Gate, I suggest you go and get your copy and really go through it, because it's a great tale of the leverage buyout of RJR Nabisco, penned in part by my friend John Hellier. I've worked with John Hellier. We've written stories together. Just the level of detail in his research when you're reporting is like, working with John makes you a hell of a lot better, because he would ask you questions like I had to go back to the drawing board 50 times to be like, I don't know. He's like, well, do this, like, oh, but to be a younger reporter working with a guy like John, just absolutely meticulous. But that was a $25 billion leverage buyout at KKR. So, still one of these firms that's very active still in even sports today. And of course, ultimately, the company was broken up and it was saddled with debt. So I don't know what's going to happen with EA Sports, but a $50 billion valuation. Historically, we're going to see some people go. We'll see what goes on at the company there. But in the video game world, they've absolutely got great titles. Now, our friends here at the office say, well, EA is one of the more disliked companies. And before I even realized that it was EA, I've said it, like the evil geniuses and the way they've figured out how to get my money out of my pocket through the credit card on the Xbox during games. Yeah, the microtransactions and like my son, oh, I got to have a skin. I got to have this. Now, this is where, if it goes to this level, this is where I will absolutely revolt as a parent. But I totally get it if you're just trying to make money. Part of these transactions in those games were like, oh, you can buy a shield that gives you more life. So it actually increases your chances of winning when you're competing against your friends. But if you bring that, and apologize my French, you bring that bullshit to the sports world, and I'm going to have a problem.
That probably already exists in the sports
world.
It
probably does. I don't know if it's true or not, but I know my son hasn't asked for it. So, but I'm saying if it becomes the commonplace where, okay, let's just say you're playing NHL 25. And, well, you got to buy this stick because it scores in 2.7% more often than if you don't have this stick. That is going to anger me to the nth degree. I'll just tell you that. Don't squeeze me like that. And I have no idea if that's already happening. Or if you get these cleats, then your running back in Madden goes further.
The form it's happening in is that there's different versions of players, right? So depending on the type of game that you're playing, you could have an 88 overall Jack Hughes. There could be like a 95 overall Jack Hughes.
No, that's silly.
That you have to either open in a pack or get somewhere else, and those can be expensive, right? So yeah, in some ways it's just like getting better versions of the players.
Yeah, and I don't like that
in the game. I think I would love to know if you're the NFL. Mm-hmm. Or if you're the NHL, right? If you're one of these big leagues that has a deal with EA, and as we talked about before, those video games are a tremendous front porch or a way of engaging in young fans that are so valuable right now. I wonder what you think about this. If this is a potential opportunity here, because there's being a private company may let you do more things. If you're worried, as you said, about what leverage buyouts have looked like in the past and what this maybe means for EA, EA has had kind of a stranglehold on a lot of these games, and there've been talk for the past few years about a challenger to Madden, for example, right? Or what's Take-Two doing in a few of these sports? And
does it remind you of Michael Rubin going for exclusive rights with the unions? And that's what, if you get exclusive rights with the leagues, there you go.
Of course,
that's just moting your business.
Again, I wonder, and maybe we should make some calls on this, but yeah, I wonder if you're one of these league partners of EA this morning, if you are nervous, optimistic, scared, thrilled, terrified. I wonder what the emotion is as you see that EA, your long-term partners, and if you're the NFL or if you're some of these soccer leagues have driven serious business and serious fan affinity towards your leagues, how you're feeling about these changes. Speaking
of serious fan affinity, I did not go, but several of our colleagues were out at the Ryder Cup. Yep. It seemed early. I mean, there's a little bit of a comeback, but it seemed like it was a lot to a little. I think the takeaway story, one, the dominance of the Europeans and fan behavior, right? We'd say those are the two big takeaways. And I don't think there's any negative for golf, because these fans will be fans, and a little rowdiness, while probably not a good look. And you had the back and forth with Rory McIlroy telling the fans to shut the F up, then dropping it a few feet from the pin. All good for the game of golf.
I agree with you. I mean, the video that got a lot of attention was the beer that hit Rory McIlroy's wife in her hat, and it appears, if you look closer, that beer was maybe knocked out of somebody's hands and maybe not thrown directly at her. I mean, I think we'd agree that fans should not be throwing anything at golfers. Or
do we need to have that conversation? Don't throw anything at the participants or their families. Yes.
So some of that withstanding, this is. I'm not a big golf guy. I enjoy watching the Ryder Cup partially because it is an atmosphere where fans are way rowdier than they are. Players are also engaging in the rowdiness in a way that they typically are not. To me, if you look at the Ryder Cup or you look at the Waste Management in Scottsdale every February, golf needs more of this. It needs more of these. I just tweeted something and folks can look at it because I think it's interesting. Shane Lowry made the winning putt in the Ryder Cup this week. And if you look at his celebration and compare it to the only major he's ever won, which was the British Open back in 2019, it's clear he cares way more about this Ryder Cup than he does about what could be his only major championship win of his golf career. This to me is you need more of this, and golf courses, I think golf tournaments, golf athletes and stars, I think, should lean in more to the kind
is that what Liv is saying? I mean, you saw DeChambeau and the way is part of that the fact that it's kind of what he's doing on a regular basis on the Liv Tour?
Yeah, to be honest, I haven't watched enough of Liv to know. This is the thing that they were promising and talking about was a more rowdy kind of rock concert mixed with golf experience, and I don't know to the extent of which they have it at their tournaments, but yeah, golf is more fun when this is happening. I always say that your sporting event, if the players are having fun, your fans are going to have fun too, and players really care about this in a way that doesn't always feel like it on a standard golf tournament. So yeah, I think this is a reminder every 2 years that there should be more of this in golf. And that if fans and players are willing to kind of do this back and forth, pushing the line but not crossing it, I think everybody in the sport wins.
I agree with you 100%. How about Angel City? You broke the story there. A couple of new investors. One name you probably recognize, one name you might not recognize, but both significant for different reasons. And once again, I think Angel City sort of leading the way in the NWSL is sort of high-profile things, pushing the envelope, trying to create a new paradigm for what women's sports and professional soccer should be.
Yeah, the two names you're referencing are Chris Paul, NBA star, big name in America, and then a friend of Bob Iger. Who's one of the control owners. And then there's Selena Chow, who's the other one, who's a Hong Kong billionaire. Forbes called her one of the most powerful women in the world a couple years ago in a profile of her and her business ventures. So someone who maybe doesn't have massive name recognition, at least in American business circles, but someone who is a heavy hitter internationally. The thing that stuck out to me here, Scott, is Angel City, for its first 4 years, let's call it, was lead investor was Alexis Ohanian. There were a trio of co-founders. They were running this company like it was a startup, and they had brought on more than 100 investors. They were calling it Series A and Series B. They were building this ownership group and this team more like a tech company and less like a traditional sports team.
For sure.
And when Bob Iger and his wife Willow Bay, and Willow's the governor of the team now, when they bought control a year ago or so, July 2024, I was curious to see if that was going to shift if under Bob and Willow, they were going to kind of start hewing back towards more traditional sports team. And I think, at least if this is any indication, I think the answer is no. I think they are looking to continually add people who are powerful in sports or in entertainment or celebrities or powerful business people or big impactful local business people. There's a few other folks in this round that are local diversity advocates and venture impact fund investors. That seems very clear that Bob and Willow, at least for now, are sticking to the roots of the team, which is, again, more of a tech model and more kind of bringing into the family, again, more than 100 investors that have some kind of power and some kind of clout in things that this team cares about.
I remember years ago when I was talking to one of the Boston Celtics owners, and he was like, I don't even recognize who our LPs are. Like in the locker room was so crowded. He's like, I don't know, is that an owner? Is that one an owner? Imagine that was only like I think
12,
20.
people, right?
I think it was like 20. Like now you got 100. Like how many people are roaming the sidelines next to Jennifer Garner? Who gets an orange wedge? Right? Wait, I'm an owner. No, you're not an
Good
owner.
reference there, Scott.
Thank you.
Good
Who
reference,
gets an orange wedge from Jennifer Garner? That's all I want to know. That's what you get. You get a jacket, you get maybe some good tickets. You don't get no board seat, although I'm guessing maybe Selena Chow does. But you get some orange wedges at halftime. So by the way, I just want to let you know, I took it out and I stuck it on the paper. If you think I've done well, it's because I gave up about 2 minutes in.
Mine's sitting on my on the front of my laptop. So we're
you are known for that. You like to put.
Yes,
I don't often. I
gum.
prefer not to take the gum out of the mouth and put it on the you leave it. I think this is strategic. You are trying to strategically dissuade me from stealing your gum by putting your wadded right next to the almost touching the pack, where I have to really be carefully navigating. Remember the game Operation? You ever play Operation? Yeah. I feel like I'm playing Operation when I go to get the pack. Luckily, it's like the part that sticks, like goes into the pack, that they seal it up. That is often stuck up, so I can go with 2 fingers and carefully get it to where I want. But I'm on to you, Novi Williams. I am on to you, Novi Williams.
Guilty as charged. He is Scott Soshnick. You can find him.
I didn't have any music this
Twitter
time. I didn't do music.
At Soshnick. I am Eben Novi Williams. You can find me on Twitter at Novi_Williams. Justin Greenwald produces the show. Thank you very much to Justin and then Sebastian.
Milo. Yes or no, Paul. Or Pete Alonso with the Mets next year. Close it out with that.
Sporticast,
Alonso, Met or Met? No Met next year.
Sportico Media
thumbs down.
Network. I say no, Scott. I say no, Pete Alonso in New York next year.
Good to know.